Okay, good evening, everybody. It is Tuesday, November 15th, 2022. We are back in New York City. Okay, so I left Miami at about 4 p.m. Eastern time. Landed about two and a half hours later. So we're going to be doing a quick live stream tonight. It is raining rather ferociously, let's just say that. So it's going to be a wet, windy, and cold one tonight. But we do have a couple things to talk about. So Walmart did report their quarterly earnings today. So ticker symbol WMT. We are going to be doing a deep dive into that earnings report tomorrow. Okay, we will not be doing that tonight. We will just be briefly talking about it because I missed the conference call. Obviously because I was traveling. All right, so we do have a couple of things to touch on though, as it relates to Walmart, but let's take a look at some of the major equity indices here. If you take a look at the S&P 500, let's look at the futures contract, the E-minis, ticker symbol ES. Now, if you notice, if you pull up a chart from tradingview.com, whatever charting software you use, we are now right up against that 200-day moving average coming in at about 4,000. If we go over to the NASDAQ 100, ticker symbol NQ, you'll notice that we have now broken above the 50-day moving average, but we are rallying right into a declining 200-day. And then lastly, the Dow Jones Industrial Average, ticker symbol YM. We are now above both major moving averages, but I think we're going to run into a little bit of resistance here. Let's take a look at the dollar or the Dixie. The Dixie has solidly closed well below the 50-day moving average and seems to be finding support right at the 200. Now, the Dixie hit a high on September 27th, a high of almost 115. Now we're trading down to about 106. Let's take a quick check at crude oil futures, ticker symbol CL. We're trading at about 86 dollars on the light crude oil futures. So we're going to talk about some key levels. We're going to talk about the dollar. We're going to talk about the bond market. If we take a quick peek at the US 10-year Treasury yield, we'll notice that we're starting to get a little bit of a bid yet again, trading at around 3.784%. Just for some perspective here, we hit a high, a 52-week high on the 10-year US Treasury on Friday, October 21st, when the 10-year US Treasury was trading at 4.323%. All right, so with that being said, let me close up my laptop. I'll say hello to everybody in the chat, and we'll get started on tonight's live stream. It may be a little bit shorter of a stream. I do have to wake up rather early. I got to be in the city for some meetings, but allow us a minute and we'll get started. We will also be bringing the umbrella because it is going to be extremely wet out. All right, let's see who we have. Hey, I see FredX. What's up, man? I see Western Mass Dave, Austin City Limits. Good to see everybody. Welcome back to New York. Hopefully you guys brought your winter jackets. You know, I left Miami. I actually went for a run this morning. It was 82 degrees. And bright sunshine. And then once I landed at JFK, probably about a couple hours ago, it was freezing. I think it's like 48 degrees, maybe a little less than 50. Diane is here, says I miss New York City sometimes, but not the weather when it's like that. True, very true. All right, I'll see you guys on the other side because usually the internet goes out here. Hey, I see Otto, Julia M. Welcome, everybody. Good to see you. Tone Rick. Welcome, welcome. Elevator. Oh, it is pouring again. All right, team, so we are on the ground floor. Let's open up the umbrella. So here we are on the corner of East 31st Street and Madison Avenue. It is going to be an extremely wet night out tonight. But let's see who we have in the chat. I forgot to say hello to our team here. I see Otto, I see Julia M, good to see you. I see Jay, Tone Rick, the one and only Tiago Pereira. I see British Gray, RJ from Colorado, Two Wheel Pines, Dan Zhang. Welcome, my friend. Amar. Gene says, hello, Tom. In New York City, have jobs SAP consultant. Yeah, definitely, absolutely. Sparks Carnival, touring different places this year. FredX, Mike C, Santa Monica Rodriguez. Dan Zhang says, Tom, I hope you brought a thick jacket. Yeah, I did. You know, again, it was crazy. The temperature change is wild. You know, and the flight is only about 2 hours and 15 minutes. It was a really fast flight. So I took off from Miami International Airport. The airport was absolutely packed. Just for some anecdotal data there. You know, people were out traveling. It took me about an hour to get through all of the security. Miami International Airport was rocking. But once we took off, very easy flight. About 2 hours and 15 minutes from takeoff to touchdown to JFK. And it's just so crazy to think that in 2 hours and 30 minutes, 2 hours and 15 minutes, you could be in 80-degree weather, bright sunshine, and then come and land, and it's absolutely freezing, raining, and windy. But it's what we got to deal with. No big deal. Diane says you were very brave to venture out in the winter in this weather. Yeah, so interesting day in the market. Now, I think this is going to be the main pivotal turning point. We've been talking about this on the live streams for quite some time. Okay, let's quickly see if we could see the top of the Empire here. It seems as if only a part of the Empire State Building is lit up. Maybe some of the colors or some of the lights are out. Interesting. But a few streams ago when we were streaming in Miami, or Brickell, downtown Miami, there was a couple of key levels that I pointed out here that I think we all need to watch very carefully. And we started by talking about the summer rally in the stock market and sort of how that looked. And the summer rally ended at about an 18% bear market rally, which is actually pretty standard on a historical basis. You know, bear market rallies can be very ferocious. They tend to not have many corrections along the way on the way up. And a classic bear market rally is anything from 15 to 20%. So as of now, ever since we bottomed in this market, all but temporarily, now maybe the bottom is in, maybe it's not, we'll have to find out. But we have now rallied about 16% from the lows, and it just so happens that we are coming up against the 200-day moving average, the same exact level where the market was turned away at the conclusion of the summer bear market rally. So I think we got to keep our eyes on this as we head through to the end of Q3 earnings season. Over 90% of the overall market capitalization of the S&P 500 has reported thus far. Hey, Brian Forrest is here. Good to see you. Davis, Shatoya Davis as well. We're back in New York. Yeah, I have some meetings, so I'll probably be here for a week or so, maybe a little bit longer. You know, originally I was going to fly in tomorrow, but I do have to be up relatively early. I got to be in the city to run some meetings, do some presentations, the whole 9 yards. So if I don't read all the comments tonight, it's because I'm holding the umbrella. It's very hard to scroll at the same time. So if I miss your comment, just kindly type it again. Hey, Danny Cox is here. Says, love the rain. Good to see you. You know, it is a little bit windy. Let me know if you guys hear the wind noise in the microphone. Sunshine After Rain is here. Good to see you. Sparks Carnival says, remember when Drew Barrymore made that Instagram of her out in the rain? I do not remember that. Sabrina Fair, good to see you. So let's head towards the Moynihan train station. Right now, this is Madison Avenue. The Garlic says Trump is running again. Oh, is it really? Wow. I didn't know that. Hey, Samantha R, what's up? Long time no see. Good to see you. Welcome. Yeah, I mean, I saw something that Donald Trump was going to make some type of big announcement. I guess he announced he is running for president. I mean, I was traveling all day, so I didn't get to see it. But take a look at this. This is the One Vanderbilt building here on the corner of Madison Avenue as the rain is coming down. Looking pretty good. Looking pretty good. Now, as I said at the beginning of the live stream, it's kind of interesting because Walmart did report quarterly earnings today, but I didn't get a chance to do enough of a deep dive to really talk about it on tonight's live stream. But here's something that I just read that was a basic headline. Now, if you think back to Q2, okay? Ooh, it is really nasty wind. If you think back to Q2, maybe we'll walk up one more because 34th Street is usually like a wind tunnel. So if you think back to Q2 when we were talking about Walmart's earnings report, now one of the things that I really focus in on, especially in this type of environment, right? High inflation. We're starting to have a lot of layoffs, people losing their jobs. The economy is not really doing too good for a lot of the middle class and the lower class individuals. So you're going to start to notice a trend in buying behaviors. Okay, you're going to start to notice a trend in buying behaviors. So one of the things out of Walmart's earnings report today is that consumers are turning to Walmart increasingly for grocery shopping. More specifically, there's been an uptick in sales volume as it relates to store branded items. Okay, so for example, let's say if you walk into a Walmart and you want to buy, cereal, a box of Honey Nut Cheerios, that would be the name brand, right? Which people tend to buy when times are good. But if you go to the store brand section, I'm not too sure what Walmart's store brand cereal is called, but it's usually like Honey Roasted O's or something like that. It'll be like an off-brand. Now, the interesting thing, which we covered, is that those particular products, although they are cheaper, they actually come with higher gross margins to the company. So it's actually a net positive for Walmart and a lot of other store brands for people to turn to the off-brand because it's actually a little bit more profit margin baked in there. We're coming up on one of my favorite museums in New York City. This is the Morgan Library. If you have not been to New York yet, this is a must go to place. It's right here on East 36th Street in Madison. Absolutely beautiful in there. Hey, I see Zozo Bob. What's up, Bob? Definitely not the weather we're used to in Miami, my friend. Hey, Gregory has just made some ginger tea with orange blossom honey. Gregory, pour me a cup of that, my friend. I think I need that. Fanny is here, says, hey, I love the rain and cold, but miss the Miami view. Yeah, we'll be back in Miami soon enough. I just have some business to take care of here. Abdullah says, great value brand. Ah, you're right. So Walmart is called Great Value Brand. Western Mass Dave says, yes, Tom, people making over 100G a year have turned to Walmart, I read. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely an interesting trend to watch. Ben Robinson says, good morning, Tom. I recently discovered that LEI, Lending Economic Index, is that something you purposely pay attention to when it comes to things like business cycles? Sometimes. Now, there's different. So what I think I'll do, because it's a good question. the specific indicators, let me cross the street here. So there's three main, I would say, categories of indicators, right, as we are trying to forecast GDP. And those are as followed. You have your leading indicators, you have your coincident indicators, and then you have your lagging indicators. Now, out of all of those three categories, there's about a handful of indicators within each subcategory that I follow. And when I put out the next newsletter, I'll list them all for you guys. I think that would be the best way. But yeah, there's many types of indicators that I use when you're trying to construct a portfolio, right? Because the way I think about it is, historically, there's a pretty good correlation between GDP growth in the United States and corporate earnings growth, and in turn, S&P 500 trajectory, right? So there's about something along the lines of like a 67 to 69% odds that if you have GDP growth, corporate earnings tend to grow in that environment, in which case the broader equity indice, S&P 500, will be higher. So as a trader, or if you're trying to build a portfolio, one of the most important things you could try to do is try to predict if GDP is going to grow, stay the same, or decline. So it's a good point. Let's see who we have. Hey, Tony Cortez says, I am doing great. My birthday is coming up soon, December 1st. Love that. Hopefully you'll be in New York City for that. Julia M says, thank you for being out, Tom. Thank you so much, Julia. It is a pretty nasty day in New York, but NMB 045 says, Tom, did you hear about the $3.1 billion that Walmart agreed to pay with regards to the pharmaceutical legal woes? I did hear about that, and I also heard about a lot of other pharmaceutical companies too. But in the grand scheme of things, not to sound super dismissive, to these companies, a fine like that is almost kind of like the cost of doing business. The way I think about it, and it's really horrible, by the way. Let me cross here, and then we'll make a left and head towards Bryant Park. I sort of think about it the way you always see in the Wall Street Journal, once every couple of years, that one of the major investment banks have been hit with a big, let's say, $500 million to $1 billion fine, maybe a $100 million fine, whatever it is, for manipulating metals markets, for manipulating currency markets. And I mean, not to be, sound like a conspiracy, but these banks sort of know what they're doing, right? So if they can make, X amount of money manipulating metals markets and currency markets, and they know they'll have to probably just pay a fine to the SEC or something like that, they're going to do it. Again, allegedly. But Tiago Pereira is here. Good to see you. Sparks Carnival says, a lot of families and communities have been devastated by the opioid addiction. 1 out of 3 people knows someone that suffered from that. Yeah, including myself. Not me personally, I haven't suffered from that, but a lot of my friends. I actually have one friend who unfortunately passed away due to that addiction. And it's a huge travesty. And the way it all started out in my instance was just in high school sports. If a student got injured or nicked or something like that, they would prescribe these very, very strong painkillers, in which case you would get addicted to them. And some students would actually sell them in schools, and it was really, really, really horrible. It's actually a major problem in school districts on Long Island. So I think the opioid crisis in general, and fentanyl specifically, is a national security threat. And it seems as if the United States as a country has no concrete plan to prevent that. I think something like 100,000 people die a year in the US due to fentanyl. It's disgusting. And most of that comes from China. Most of it comes from China. So, yeah, I don't want to go on a big political rant, so I'll just leave it there. Okay, East 39th Street here. Check out the smokestack here. Hey, Alexander M says, hey, Tom and team, how are we doing tonight? Pretty good. It's good to be back in New York, but it is a little cold tonight. Vivian says, yes, had to let go of friendship, but it's saddening to hear that that person passed away of overdose. Yeah, it's a big problem. Gregory says, complex issue for sure. Roberts is in San Francisco. The number of fentanyl dealers were not prosecuted because the DA didn't want them deported. Well, here's the problem, right? It doesn't take that much fentanyl. I think it's something along the lines of a small sized box, right? So imagine if you're going to UPS or FedEx and you want to mail like a standard size package. The amount of fentanyl that could fit in that particular package is enough to kill every single person in the United States. So it definitely do have to have a plan for that, but it doesn't seem like we do. So I have a quick question for the chat, as we talked about briefly Walmart earnings, but we're going to do a deep dive tomorrow. Has anybody in the chat, or maybe people you know in your family, your coworkers, have you been starting that same trend that seems to be coming up within Walmart's earnings report? And what I mean by that is Walmart is seeing more and more people choose to go to Walmart specifically for grocery shopping because it's cheaper. And not only that, shopping at Walmart for their groceries, but not buying name brand products, but buying more store brand. So anybody's purchasing habits here in the chat changed a little bit? I'd be interested to know. Now, I'll tell you in my experience. So in Miami, whenever I'm in Miami, I only really go shopping at Walmart. But if I'm in downtown Miami, I will go to the Whole Foods sometimes. But just recently, I was picking up, and I think I posted this on my Twitter. If you guys want to follow me at Walks Wall Street, sometimes post some good information there. But it was literally one slice of salmon, right, uncooked, and I think it was $18.75. And I don't understand how people find that that's sustainable, especially if you have a family of 4 or 5 or something like that. I'm not sure how that's sustainable to, maybe buy, 4 or 5 slices of salmon at $18 a clip. So I've actually been opting to go to Walmart. Western Mass Dave says, yes, Tom, certainly. I go to Walmart for soup, crackers, and snacks. Julia M says a gallon of milk, $6. I haven't seen that. I haven't seen $6 for a gallon of milk. Zozo Bob says, shop at Walmart, neighborhood market, but food. But don't buy any of their food brands. Okay, understood. Roberts' steaks are through the roof. Hey, Manny Explores, what's up, man? Good to see you. Hope you're staying dry tonight. So, again, I think it was Teresa Diaz. I was having a conversation with her in the chat. We'll head towards Bryant Park. So I went to Walmart and I bought 2 New York strip steaks, and I think it was $19. Now, to be fair, being in New York, and no New Yorker really cooks a lot, right? We always tend to eat out. So whenever I'm at home in Miami, I always try to cook. So the problem is I don't really have anything as a reference point, if that makes sense. So I'm assuming 2 New York strip steaks for $19 is expensive, but I don't really have anything to reference it from. Hey, Jared Covey, what's up, man? This is Tom listening to the stream while grocery shopping on the Walmart app. Love that. Wow, this is actually a beautiful view here. So we are standing right outside of the New York Public Library, the Stephen Schwarzman building. Manny Explores says, Tom, I haven't cooked in a while. I used to cook a lot when the pandemic hit. Yeah, I mean, that's another trend too. So Manny Explores makes a good point. And I think we discussed this as well. And this is actually showing up in a lot of the credit card data. So if you remember earlier during the very beginning of Q3 earnings, the beginning of earnings season always starts with the major financials. And as we went through earnings season, a lot of these banks like JP Morgan, Bank of America, they were saying that consumer spending isn't necessarily dropping off. It's just simply reappropriating to other things. So during the pandemic, everybody was ordering things off of Amazon, ordering in, but it seems as if now that the pandemic, at least in the United States, is winding down here, consumer behavior is merely just shifting, right? People want to go out, people want to travel. People want to eat out at restaurants with their friends and family, right? Because they were locked down for 2 years. That's a good point. Hey, design ideas. Is $10 per steak is very reasonable. Beef is expensive in general. A filet or ribeye would be even more. Good insight there. So I noticed whenever I buy steak, obviously, at Walmart, it's significantly cheaper than Whole Foods. If you ever go to the downtown Miami Whole Foods, I mean, that's just really ridiculous prices there. We'll wait for the wind to stop. Oh, guys, you know what? I just got the notification on my phone right now from the Wall Street Journal that Donald Trump announced that he is running. Yeah, I didn't know that. I like I said, I was traveling all day, so I don't know. Yeah, but Zeta Lopez says, or Publix, true. Travel News says, I just can't tolerate Walmart. Yeah, I mean, the Walmart near me in Miami is not too bad. It's not too bad. And a little bit of, market research here, anecdotally, it's always packed. And I go in there very late at night, and it is always packed, every time. Oh, that is brutal wind. Oh my God. All right, let's turn the corner here. Hopefully the wind subsides. Man, that is brutal. Roberts, there's not many Walmarts in the Bay Area. There's not too many Walmarts in the New York City area. I think Mayor Michael Bloomberg at the time banned Walmarts from being within the 5 boroughs. But if you venture out to Long Island, there's some Walmarts there. Sam Morganas is running for what, a jog? Yeah, I mean, supposedly he announced he's running for president. We'll see what the futures are doing with that. Anybody could check the futures. Aaron says farmer's market for boiled peanuts and mangoes. Boiled peanuts, never heard of that one. Good to see you, Aaron. Mike C says the increase in purchases to compensate for the lockdown is long in the tooth, in my opinion. Yeah, I mean, it's crazy, Mike, because you know what we'll do? Let's quickly do a lap through Grand Central Station just to warm up here a bit. But check out the beautiful Chrysler building all the way in the distance here. Jane M's has just got half beef for $2.25 a pound. Derek Hammond says I go to Walmart early in the morning to avoid the madness. Yeah, I mean, the stock was up, what, 6% today? Very, very good quarter. And it seems as if the companies who have been reporting favorable results, the weather is just horrible in New York. The companies that seem to have been reporting favorable results have been a lot of the, big box retailers, discount stores, and the like. I think Target is reporting earnings maybe tomorrow, right? I'm not sure the exact day, but I know they're due to report this week. Ticker symbol TGT, Target will be reporting as well. NMB 045 says Walmart could drastically change the cultural landscape in New York City if they were allowed to open in the city. Dude, that's such a good point. And so you know what? I'm usually all, like, you guys know me. I'm all for free markets. I'm all for mainly laissez-faire capitalism. But NMB 045 makes a fantastic point. If Walmarts were allowed to be, let's say, on 34th Street, places like in the Bronx or Brooklyn, it would literally decimate all of the local small bodegas, small mom and pop shops. So that I actually do agree with it. There's plenty of Walmarts in Nassau, Suffolk County, but you make a good point. It just wouldn't be a good landscape. I agree. It's a good point. Edward Adams is with Walmart. It's just for those doggone crowds for me. So that has been a very big objection, I think, for all shoppers, right? And I call that the Amazon effect. And I think increasingly, consumers in general are less and less patient every single year, right? Because you could, have Amazon Prime. I think if you have an Amazon Prime business account, you could get next day delivery for free. So I think the next key in the environment of competition for grocery in general is sort of like mobile order and pay, like you have at a Starbucks. Whoever can master that is going to dominate. And I believe Amazon with Whole Foods, because Amazon acquired Whole Foods, is probably best positioned to dominate in that space along with Walmart. Now, does anybody here do their grocery shopping exclusively online for pickup or delivery? Because in the Walmart in North Miami Beach, I noticed once you walk in, if you veer to the left, it's a massive pickup station. So if you go to the Walmart app or something like that, you could do all of your grocery shopping virtually, place your order, and then a Walmart associate will scour the store, picking up your goods, and then all you really have to do is just pay for it and you walk out. Does anybody do that? All right, so we made it here to Grand Central Station. OI says, or they come to your car. Savi says no, because they send rotten lettuce here in Canada, so the produce is not good. Interesting. Hey, Julia M, thank you so much for your kind donation. Says, thank you, Tom. So much for your dedication and wisdom, rain or shine. Thank you so much, Julia, for the support. I appreciate it. Love is Kind is also better for me since I don't drive. Sparks Carnival says, I ordered 4 sponges, those smiley face sponges from Walmart. I got a notification today my package was delivered. They delivered 1 sponge and the other 3 are on the way. That's hilarious. Hey, Anita Patel, good to see you. This is a very nice view. Thanks for being here. Perry Kirby says, Tom, yes, you pay online before your order is approved. They know via GPS when you arrive to Walmart. I mean, that's a fantastic customer experience. And to further perpetrate the Amazon effect, and I mean, tell me in the chat if I'm being off base here, but how does a local mom and pop grocery store compete with something like that? I mean, am I wrong? Think about that. How does a local mom and pop grocery store over long periods of time compete with something like that? You know, I would assume a local grocery chain wouldn't have the R&D spend to hire developers to engineer an app. So I think as the age of convenience ticks on, I think you're going to have 4 main players. Obviously, it's probably going to be Walmart, Target, Whole Foods, and Albertsons. And I always forget this. You guys are going to have to forgive me here. I'm just shaking off my umbrella. We'll go inside Grand Central. Who are they merging with again? You guys know I always forget this. I'm horrible with that. Ellis says, hey Tom, you planning to attend the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade? Probably not. I usually don't. Just because it's very crowded usually, but I mean, we'll see. We'll definitely see this year. Robert Kroger, you're right. I don't understand why I always forget Kroger. Probably because we don't have any here in New York. Hey, Carlos Chavez is here. This is great job again. Great live stream. Thank you, Carlos. Good to see you, my friend. Not to sort of veer off topic, because I think this is a good conversation, good trend to watch. Has anybody noticed today, and again, I apologize, I was traveling all day, so I really didn't have a lot of time to be focused on the markets, but over the past, I'd say 2 to 3 weeks, a lot of the Chinese equities have been getting hit hard, like freaking rocked. But usually when you have this cascade waterfall effect of selling, you usually have these crazy neck snapper rallies. And that's exactly what we're having, at least for the past couple days in a lot of the Chinese names, a lot of the Chinese ADRs. Now, there's one, I'm trying to give you guys a ticker so you can just look at it and visualize it on TradingView. If you punch in the ticker VWO, it's like an emerging markets ETF, but a 40% weighting to Chinese names. Now, this is not a recommendation to buy it. It's just so you guys could sort of see the effects of these moves. If you throw a 200-day and 50-day moving average on VWO or any of really the emerging market funds, or you could just throw it on HSI, right? Chinese stock market ticker. Notice how egregiously extended to the downside from all those moving averages we were. So everybody was probably piled on the short side of the market. And I think HSI, a lot of the Chinese names like Alibaba, Pinduoduo, these things are up like 20% in 2 weeks. Just something to watch. Hey, RS is here. Says, hey, good to see you, RS. Welcome. Denise says, hey, Tom. Good evening, everybody. Good to see you, Denise. Hope you had a good week so far. Abdullah says, gorgeous Grand Central Station. Nicholas Sturr says, hey, Tom, what exactly attracted you to Miami? The big thing was the weather. Now, I think I've said this before, but I used to have a really horrible commute. So I used to work in Lower Manhattan, right on Wall Street. Not in finance, in tech sales. But I had to commute to Lower Manhattan almost every day in the winter from Long Island. So I'll tell you what my commute was. And the wind and the rain and the snow is just brutal. So I'd commute from Massapequa or Massapequa Park, take the train in to Penn Station, transfer to the 2 train, and go down, get off at Wall Street. And I would get on the 5:25 train. I would wake up, it's completely pitch black, work all day. You get out of the office
and guess what? It's completely pitch black. It's raining. It's nasty. So I'm like, look, I don't know how much longer I could do that in the winter. So Miami, Florida is very attractive in that regard. Also, there's a very business-friendly environment there. So I love New York City. I think New York City is the greatest city in the world. But I think if I could create an environment where maybe I split my time 50-50, spend more time in New York during the summer, the spring, and the fall, and in the winter spend the majority of the time in Southern Florida, I think it just works a little bit better for me personally. Hey, Audra Henderson says, yikes, that commute is horrible. Yeah, I mean, that commute, I remember the specific, so if you commute at like a 5 o'clock, between 6 o'clock in the morning on the Long Island Railroad, you are with all of the construction workers. And I have such respect for those guys because I remember I would work in Lower Manhattan and the building right across from me was under construction, right adjacent to the Andaz Hotel, for anybody who's familiar with that sort of location. And it would be, doesn't matter the weather, okay? Rain, wind, snow, these guys, the iron workers, are hanging off the side of these buildings, putting steel I-beams together. And I'm like, oh my God, like these guys, it's almost like they're superhuman. I don't know how they do it. I could never do that. So big respect to all the New York City iron workers. I mean, it's just it's a sight to see. Oh, look at this. Oh, this looks like it is a model of one Vanderbilt. So 6 experiences, 1,100 feet in the sky, Manhattan. Anybody in the chat ever been to the observation deck here? I've never been. Hey, Vinny Castellano, what's up? Yeah, Vinny says huge respect to the construction workers, big, massive, man. Jared Covey says ordered online from a local grocery store chain after the order was placed. 50% of the items were not available in store. Inventory data is crucial. Yeah, it's a good point. I think there's some software that these companies could probably buy to help out with that. Check out these chandeliers here. I think I saw Dan Zhang put a comment I wanted to read. Let me see. Kirby says it will be the technology companies that will survive in the low margin business. Walmart and Amazon technology companies that happen to retail, mom and pop stores are a more personal experience, says Kirby. Dan Zhang says, Tom, Chinese stocks tend to behave really well when it comes to dip buying. It's really good for someone who likes that strategy. Yeah, I mean, me personally, that's just not really my style. But yeah, I mean, China is a very interesting basket of worms, I would say, because the political environment there makes it very difficult for investment. And Chinese companies and the Chinese government in general does not seem to cooperate well with the Securities and Exchange Commission. Reason why, let's say if you log on, well, chances are if you log on to your retail brokerage account or something like that, and you want to buy a share of Alibaba, right? It's you're technically not buying a share of the company. It's an American depository receipt. So all you're doing is you're buying a share in an offshore holding company, either in the Cayman Islands or the Bahamas, that then in turn hold those securities. Now, if you have, I think, Interactive Brokers or something like that, you could buy the direct shares from the Chinese exchanges. But here in the United States, they're Chinese ADRs. And it's very risky. It's a very risky political environment there. We always talk about, I think most recently, CEO of Apple, Tim Cook, he came out with a warning for their iPhone 14 and iPhone 14 Pro, I believe it's called. And for the holiday season, they're not going to have enough inventory to meet demand because of the unfavorable, I would say, political environment in China as they continue their zero COVID policy. So I think what you're going to continue to see is a lot of companies transitioning or domesticating the supply chains away from, let's say, China to maybe India, a more favorable environment. Because how do you run a business, right? How do you run a business when, you have your manufacturing facilities in China and then the government could just say, nope, got to shut down, too many COVID cases. So yeah, it's a tough environment for investment, but these names have been beaten down. I think Alibaba sold off all the way to its IPO price. All right, so we are now exiting MetLife, and we will be at the Hemsley building, which is right across the street. So now this is Park Avenue. Michael Joseph says Amazon about to lay off 10,000 people. I did hear that too, and this comes right at a time when Meta, Mark Zuckerberg's company, laid off about 11,000 people, which is horrible. But I think it may have been Sparks Carnival, I'm not sure who it was in the chat, that pointed out and noted to us that even with all of those layoffs at Meta, they're still back to 2000, I think just pre-pandemic levels of employment, which makes sense, right? Because during COVID, you had unprecedented levels of fiscal and monetary stimulus being pumped into the market. So all of that demand for products and services and goods, companies needed to hire like crazy in order to keep up with demand. But we saw a massive fiscal and monetary policy change just in the last year, which is crushing demand. So all of those companies that hired all these people to keep up with demand as monetary policy tightens, well, you don't need all those workers anymore. This is 45th Street. Let's open back up the umbrella. Hey, Dusty Cole is here. Western Mass Dave, good to see you. Dan Zhang says, Tom, you're right. Just imagine if you own shares of Alibaba listed at NYC and Hang Seng plummeted during Hong Kong session, you couldn't sell. Yeah, it's a very interesting investment environment in China, but here's what I will say to sort of take the other side of my argument there. Usually when everybody is coming out in the media saying, oh, China is uninvestable, that probably means that there's some alpha to be had there. Now, again, I'm not saying go out and buy Chinese stocks, but usually when one side of the trade is stacked, you can fill in the blanks. So this is the Yale Club right here, outside of the Yale Club. Beautiful building, by the way. I love the sort of facade, the architecture. Now, Jeff Bezos comes here sometimes. Hey, Irish Lou says, Tom, it's raining all day. Kelly Knowles says, yay, Trump is running again, yay. Yeah, he's not really my cup of tea, but if that makes you happy, if that's your political choice, I respect it. Oh, Roberts says the Harvard Club is better. Have you been in either the Yale Club or the Harvard Club? Now, my brother went to Cornell, so he goes to the Cornell Club sometimes. He tells me it's fantastic. But I've never been to either of them, and they look really, really nice. I was looking at some photos on Google Images, and just the architecture is fantastic. Speaking of that, I hear the best one out of all of them, allegedly, is the Penn Club. Anybody ever been to the Penn Club? Hey, Remy is here. This Harvard Club is okay. The food is good. Good to know. Have you been to any others? Like Penn Club, anything like that? Hey, Daryl says, Tom, I'm training to become a home health aide this week. Hey, well, good luck to you, my friend. Good luck to you. that is the industry where the vast majority of my clients are in. John says Harvard's got a bunch of Roosevelt big game on the walls. It's nuts. Wow, Tom C says the Princeton Club closed down. So how does that work? Just as long as you're an alumni, you have access? Skyline 220 says Warren Buffett bought a bunch of Taiwan Semiconductor today, or TSMC. So speaking of insider buying activity, there is a company that we talk about quite frequently. And last year I actually had a pretty sizable position in the company. Datadog, ticker symbol DDOG. And I was looking through some of these filings here, and Stanley Druckenmiller has accumulated a pretty sizable position in Datadog. I think one of our viewers, Austin City Limits, works at PagerDuty as an account executive. All right, I'll give you guys one more shot. Dan Zhang says, Tom, were you scared for a moment when the news that 2 Russian missiles landed in Poland? Yeah, I've been really behind on the news flow today because I was traveling. I was flying, but I did hear something like that. I think it was a Wall Street Journal pop-up on my phone, but I'm not too sure all the details. Now, that is a little bit concerning because that means NATO is getting involved in this, right? Now, was it intentional? I don't know, but does it matter? Probably not, right? You can't just say, oh, my bad, I launched the rocket into Poland. I didn't mean it. I don't think that's how that works. But yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens. It's just horrible what's going on over there. All right, Madison Avenue. We are right across the street from the PwC building. But if you guys are enjoying tonight's live stream, feel free to leave a like on the video and hit the subscribe button if you're new. We do these live streams about 5 days a week between New York City and Miami. And we'd love to have you guys along for the ride here. Michael Joseph says, new update, Poland hit with missiles. Interesting. Yeah, I'm not a big foreign policy guy. That's not really my wheelhouse, so I don't really know, but here's one thing I do know that I think we need to be paying attention to this week. And we are going to get a lot of housing data. So more specifically that I'm interested in on Friday, we are going to be hearing from the National Association of Realtors as they release their existing home sales data. And I was reading a report before I got on the plane from Reuters, and Reuters was listing all the major cities, or I would say states and cities, right? And they said this is the amount of income you'd need to make to afford a median priced home in each state. And in New York, the income that you need to afford a median priced home is $107,000. Miami, Florida, it was $93,000. And in Austin, Texas, it was $96,000. Now, looking at those numbers at face value, that actually kind of seems pretty low, doesn't it? But then again, I think what they're doing is looking at a national median, and I really don't think you could find a home in any of those cities for like $338,000. I just don't even think that's possible. But hey, Skyline 220, people need to factor in that in New York City you don't need a car, making it a lot cheaper than other cities. That's true. I'm not sure how much that, like in the grand scheme of things, right? I don't know how much that impacts, but it's definitely a big cost. Western Mass Dave says Tom Tyson had a slight revenue growth, but missed profit projections. It was a mixed bag. You know, Dave, thank you for saying that. Didn't the CFO of Tyson get in the mix with some drunken escapade, and I think he landed himself in jail? Did anybody hear about that? It was the strangest headline a couple weeks ago. Did anybody else hear that? Tiz Monsters' reality everywhere is expensive. Is getting extremely expensive. You're right. Unfortunately, you're correct. KB says the cost of car replaced by high taxes in New York City. Yeah, I mean, if you live in Manhattan, you know, you're going to have to pay not only New York State tax, but also New York City tax too. Hey, Ryan Beck is here. What's up? Roberts says only 400 homes were sold in San Francisco last month, way down from last year. So you know what else I saw and what I'm watching is a lot of the iBuyers. Now, I read an article in the Wall Street Journal. I think I actually posted it to my Twitter feed. If you guys want to follow there, at Walks Wall Street. Now, a lot of these iBuyers and flippers, and this happens in every cycle, they tend to accumulate a ton of properties in order to try to just quickly flip them for a profit. But every single week, you're seeing 5% price declines across the board at a lot of these iBuyers because they're sitting on a ton of inventory. Using people. This is why would someone sign a lease for an apartment versus getting an Airbnb? Well, Airbnb is like for a short-term stay. An apartment is, you know, a place to live. Hey, Christina says, hey, Tom, I'll be visiting New York for the first time December 19th. Do you think I'll see snow? I really hope there will be snow when I go. I'll be there for a few days. Hey, that's awesome. Well, welcome to New York. I think you'll have a great time. So December 19th, it's usually hit or miss, honestly. I will say this. It is really cold out tonight. And usually what I've been noticing here in New York is that for whatever reason, we could even have like 60-degree weather on Christmas sometimes. I think in 2014 or 2015, it was like 71 degrees on Christmas. But I mean, look, you never know. I give it about maybe a 40% chance you'll see snow. That's going to be my guess. All right, this is 1114 Avenue of the Americas. Beautiful Christmas tree in the lobby. Hey, Mark Francis, what's up? Marco says, if you had $7 million, would you put it in the bank? Would you try to invest it somewhere? I would try to invest it somewhere. All right, we are coming up on Bank of America Tower here. All right, now that we passed the Christmas tree, I'll give you guys a quick off-topic opinion. Now, I think the Rockefeller Center Christmas tree is already here. But in my opinion, if you go down to Wall Street, in my opinion, the Christmas tree right outside the New York Stock Exchange looks a lot better than the Rockefeller Center one. For whatever reason, I don't know why. And very seldom do tourists actually go down there and check it out. So if you're in New York this holiday season, make a trip down to the New York Stock Exchange. I think you're gonna be pretty pleased with the Christmas tree there. Ooh, it's always a wind tunnel right here. 42nd. Man, what a difference. I walked outside my house today. It was 80 degrees, sunny. Oh man, gross weather. Western Mass Dave's like, Tom, you'll show us both. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to get down there. 100% Dave. Wow, check this out, guys. So this is the corner of 42nd Street and Avenue of the Americas. Check out the Empire State Building. Now, I'm not sure if they're doing this on purpose, but it seems as if only one side of the Empire is lit up tonight in green. All of the other sides are completely out of light there. I don't know why. All right, let's try to make our way up a little bit more, and then we will head back down to Moynihan. Somebody says, did you know Carl Icahn's fund pays 16% dividend? I did not know that. Now, what's interesting about Carl Icahn is he is calling this rally, and it's so horrible here. He's calling this rally a bear market rally. And it's interesting because we talked about this in the beginning of the stream, but look at all the major equity indices. I mean, the main one, S&P 500, we're rallying right now to the 200-day moving average. And usually during bear markets, that is a key level where price gets turned away. And it seems as if we are there now. Hey, PV on the go, what's up? Says, good evening, Tom and chat. You're not in Miami anymore. I know, unfortunately not. But look, it's good to be back in New York. I got some business to do here. Tomorrow's going to be an early start for me. I have some meetings to go to. But yeah, talk about a big shock. Every day I was in Miami, it was like 85 degrees. Really, really nice. It's cold out tonight. C says Icahn is a corporate raider. Yeah, he is. My favorite, I think I've said this before, my favorite Carl Icahn video of all time is on YouTube. And it was when he sat down with Andrew Ross Sorkin and he was talking about the time when he acquired a very large rail car company. And he hired a bunch of consultants to have the consultants figure out what these employees do all day. And long story short, I'm not gonna tell the whole story, you guys can watch the video. But the consultant said, Mr. Icahn, you know, you're being really nice to us. You paid us the $250,000 that we asked. We gotta be honest with you. We have no idea what these guys do either. And from there, Carl Icahn fired, I think it was 3 floors of people here in Manhattan. And he says it was like they never even existed. And that's a classic example of corporate bloat. And I fear, here's my fear. We've talked about zombie companies before. And I think coming off a decade of artificially suppressed interest rates has allowed a lot of these SaaS companies, software as a service companies specifically, a lot of these money loser companies to sustain all but temporarily because they can constantly acquire debt to service their existing debt because rates are so low. But that strategy only works in an environment. Oh, I think that guy's getting arrested. That strategy only works in an environment when interest rates are rock bottom. But the Federal Reserve has been raising rates in increments of 75 basis points. We got our fourth consecutive 75 basis point rate hike, but it is rumored that the next rate hike in December, we're going to get a clean, even 50 basis point rate hike and maybe a little bit of a pause next year. I don't think so. I think the Fed is going to continue to go full steam ahead, even if they do 50 basis points. I think at each Fed meeting, you're going to continue to see rates go materially higher here for prolonged periods of time. Now, the market has been getting all giddy because we've been having a better than expected CPI report, and we got the PPI number out today. But here's my critique on that. When you actually go through the CPI report that we just got out, just to give you guys some perspective of how windy it is, check out these American flags right here. It is rainy, windy, nasty night. So just to give you some perspective, in my view, I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. It's just so rainy and windy, and I'm holding on to this umbrella barely. Okay, I remembered it now. I'm also a little bit, every time I get off the airplane, I get huge brain fog. Anyway, so if you look at the CPI report and you actually go line item by line item, in my opinion, and again, opinionated, this is an opinionated statement. In my opinion, the only line items that actually matter to Americans actually got worse. So if you look at shelter costs, which makes up about 33% of CPI, shelter costs actually accelerated at the fastest pace in history. And that makes up 33% of CPI. Now, we did an impromptu poll at our previous live stream in Miami. And we said, what is the largest expense? The largest expense out of everybody in the chat. And unanimously, it was either your rent or your mortgage payment. So the only thing, your biggest expense, Americans' biggest expense, actually accelerated last month. So there's that. Mark Francis says, I hate the rain and the cold more than the snow. Yeah, I actually don't mind the snow because when it snows and it's really, really cold, you don't get all wet and you could actually walk around. What I hate the most is when it's cold and when it's rainy, because when it's snowing and it's freezing cold, it's not a mess. It's like this powdery snow. You can walk around, you can do things. But when it's rainy, you can't really do too much. It's a good point. Hey, Con, I am. Good to see you, my friend. Thanks for joining. War Walker says, food at the grocery store is my biggest expense. Yeah, War Walker, before you joined, we were talking about Walmart's earnings report today. And the CEO of Walmart came on the call and said that consumers are more often turning to Walmart for grocery items. Right? So they're not going to Whole Foods anymore. They're not going to Publix. These more expensive grocery chains, they're turning to Walmart because of the affordable prices. Matt Dykes says, people are flooding into small town Eastern Tennessee. My home value has doubled in the last 2 years. Hey, Matt, that's awesome for you, my friend. That's good news for you. Yeah, you saw, a lot of places in Tennessee, a lot of places in Texas, Florida. you saw property values go up really, really high. With rates going up, I'm under the impression that you're going to see a little bit of a decline here in property values. Hey, EBITDA is here. What's up, my friend? Says, hey, Tom. Hope all is well. Good to see you. EBITDA, are you going to be coming to New York for the holidays, or are you going to be staying in the Carolinas? I think you told me usually you come to New York for the holidays just to walk around. Tariq Khan says, I think that pure Walmart advertisement. Well, let me try to read your comments. Tariq, got it. Copy that. Skyline 2020 or 220 says, Tom, do you think NVIDIA will miss earnings? I think they're going to guide lower. I definitely think they're going to guide lower. And here's why I think that. Now, this is a little bit of anecdotal data, but hey, SoCal Lawrence, thank you so much, my friend, for the $5 donation. Says, thank you for walking tonight. I arrive in Manhattan tomorrow. Hey, awesome, dude. 4-day vacation. Well, welcome to New York. Hopefully it stops raining for you, man. We got to get the rain out of here for SoCal Lawrence. EBITDA says, I have a couple meetings the first week of December, and then for fish at MSG. Ah, yeah, you always tell us that. You go to fish at Madison Square Garden. Awesome, man. Well, I hope you have a good time, man. Last question, EBITDA. You think we are at the conclusion of the bear market rally, or you think this is the start of a more durable uptrend? Now, I'm a little bit concerned because we are right at the 200-day, and if you take the measured move of the bear market rally in the summer, it was right at 18% from the lows. We're getting close to that. I think the market is now rallied about 15% from the low, which comes together right with a bear market rally. We'll see. Carl Icahn seems to think that the low is not in. Hey, Tyler Phillips, thank you so much for the $10 donations. As always, enjoy your streams and advice, brother. Be safe, man. Hey, thank you so much, Tyler. Appreciate the kind words and the donation. Much appreciated. Thank you for watching the stream. Joan K, welcome. Hey, Charlie Richardson is here. Good to see you, Charlie. Welcome. So the NVIDIA, here's my take on NVIDIA. I think semiconductors in general, semiconductors tend to be very, very cyclical, but I think over the long term, semis are going to be less drastic in their cyclicality, if that makes sense. Because if you look at all of the major new innovations that are going to be coming down the pike, the magic elixir in all of those products are semiconductors. You talk about machine learning, gaming, virtual reality, EVs, augmented reality, electric vehicles. I think it's something along the lines of there's 2 times as many chipsets in an EV than there is a traditional vehicle. Now, NVIDIA is very big on gaming and also very big on cryptocurrency miners. And I don't think we need to review what just happened in the cryptocurrency markets with the massive fraud over the past couple of days, but I think you're going to see a lot of that demand taper off, at least for the next couple quarters for NVIDIA. So I think they're going to guide lower. And we saw the same thing with AMD. Now AMD, and I have a little bit of experience with this. Hold on, let me check my battery. I think we're gonna have to wrap it up because my battery is gonna die. I was on the plane. So last thing I'll say is, with NVIDIA, with AMD, we saw the same thing because their chips go into a lot of computers, Chromebooks, laptops. And during COVID, there was massive stimulus given to local school districts to purchase Chromebooks, laptops for their students. So you had about, in my view, probably a 3 to 5 year pull forward in technology spend. And I think you're gonna see the upgrade cycles elongate. I was working on some deals, these were $20 million deals, pulling together all these Chromebooks, laptops for massive school districts. They spent a ton of money because they got it all from the government, and to bridge the digital divide, they bought every single one of their students, depending on which district you're in, brand new laptops to do schoolwork. But team, my phone is gonna die. I apologize. I'll see you tomorrow, 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. If you want to subscribe to our free financial newsletter, feel free to scan the QR code on your screen. I write a newsletter where we talk about the US equity markets, emerging markets, fixed income, real estate, and the like. Please join us over there, punch in your email, and we will see you tomorrow live from New York City, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. So Sabrina Fair, thank you for joining. Dr. Longus, Gregory, Denise, NYC, Robert, EBITDA, Greg, Joseph Hardaway, Brad's Brain, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. War Walker, Audra, thank you. Melee, Muhammad, Abdullah, Charlie Richardson, Using People. And to the Mighty Bull, have a good night wherever you are, because there's always a bull market somewhere. You just need to know where to look. If you're new here, feel free to hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Stay dry, stay safe, and stay warm.